All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I am your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am excited because we've got a wonderful guest with us here today. And we have Jen Hamilton, and we are going to be talking about growing your business without the chaos. Oh, are you there, Jen, or did you freeze up? Oh, I think we've frozen up here. We'll see what happens in just a second. That is interesting because we were just talking and it worked out just fine. So we'll give Jen just a moment here and I'm sure she's going to get back online, but we will get started. Yep, she dropped off. So she'll be back in just a moment here and we'll get going with Jen Hamilton. And this has been a long time since this happened, but I hope everyone's having a great week. We will be rolling here with Jen shortly and getting this thing going. So in the 2025, we're getting into the second month of the year. January went through very quickly. Lots of good stuff happening in the world here. We have some new initiatives coming out with some marketing things that are happening, some new system things that we're releasing with clients. So that's been a lot of fun. But when we're talking about the topic today, Jen Hamilton with Hamilton COOs has been a fractional COO for a long time. She's got a fractional COO collective, and we will see here if she can get back in. Hopefully we can get started. We may have to reschedule and have her back again if she can't, but that's the way that goes. I want to say, Sophie, thanks for stopping by today and saying hello. Glad that you can be with us today, and we will. Let's see how this works here. And we'll continue going. So if anyone's got any questions out there, let's go ahead and fire them away until Jen gets back in here, and we'll stick around for a few minutes. If Jen can't get back on, we shall give this thing another try another day. But couple things that are happening this week. If you know, I do a show with Kurt Anderson. We do those Mondays and Fridays at 9:32 Pacific, 12:32 Eastern. And we are having another show this afternoon. Let me pull up the guest because I was not ready for this. So getting that. So how many people out there have been doing live streams and have this happen? This happens once in a while to us. I think it's an inevitable thing. All right. Who we got coming up on Friday on manufacturing e-commerce success? I got to check it out myself because it's on my profile and I didn't remember who we have scheduled. That's pretty bad. But we will get it here. Oh man, too funny. Too funny. All right. Let's see the events we have coming up. Oh, we are going to be talking about the sneak peek behind the scenes at the Industrial Marketing Summit for 2025 in Austin. If you are an industrial marketer and you have not attended the Industrial Marketing Summit, you might want to check it out. The Industrial Marketing Summit 2025 is going to be held in Austin the 27th and 28th of February. I think 26th, 27th, 28th of February. It's a great thing. Lots of awesome people. We've interviewed quite a few of them already, and it's been a lot of fun. So, well, I think that Jen is obviously having some technical difficulties here. Here she is. She's back again. All right, back again.
So sorry, I had to switch computers. I'm like, what great timing. As soon as you said my name, I'm gone.
That's awesome, Jen. Well, again, I wanted to tell everyone today, Faces of Business. We've got Jen Hamilton from Hamilton COOs here today. A long time fractional COO. She's going to be talking about growing your business without the chaos. I was filling time, Jen. I knew you'd be back and ready to go.
Thank you, David.
So, as we always like to start the show off, Jen, and you've got an incredible background. Let's talk a little bit about your background and how you got into being a fractional COO.
No problem. Well, thank you again for having me and putting up with my technical difficulties. I appreciate that. I started my career as a CPA. So a lot of people go into the operations or the COO side through different avenues. My avenue was the financial side of things. And it's part of why I'm still a nut for data and processes and just understanding how it all comes together. And I just really feel like the financials tell such a story of the business. One of the things that really I got excited about as I rose in the ranks through public accounting was the leadership and team side of things. So when I left public accounting, I really leaned into understanding human nature, how to motivate, how to hold people accountable, have them take initiative. And it's actually funny, I went through the realm of actually an education consultant. So I was working on behalf of different schools, school districts, and eventually the whole state of California's education department, teaching teachers how to better engage students. And one of the things I like to say is that what better place to learn leadership, management, and accountability than getting teachers to get students who aren't paid to be there. Like they're the
Yeah.
hardest people to get engaged and get excited. So that really gave me an insight into the kind of the other side of it is how do we bring the systems and processes together with the people, because when you really put all those together, that's where you have a strong business. That it just sort of naturally evolved into doing more work to work with leaders and managers and putting in the right processes and data and ways to hold each other accountable. And it evolved into taking on COO roles in a fractional sense, because I always have loved the small business world. I have my own reasons that the small businesses touch my heart, but really they touch the community, the impact that they have on jobs, on offering services and products. It's just a huge ripple effect. So anytime I can really help them be stronger is what makes my heart sing. And to be able to do the COO position for many small businesses really kind of bring everything together. Because I believe that so many businesses are started by experts in their field,
Yes.
not experts in business. So bringing the business acumen and the leadership and the support to their business is really what a fractional COO is about for multiple businesses at the same time. So it's just this lovely culmination of my strange background
Yes.
into what allowed me to just really make a huge difference and see the difference and the impact these small businesses make on their team, their clients, the people who are part of their families that are connected to their employees. It's just such a fun way to see how they can be even better at what they do.
Yes. Yes. And forget how much of the, like, it's like 80 or 90% of the employment in the United States is in small business, even though we know the big companies, you know who they are, but the sheer numbers of small businesses dwarfs that and the employees that work for them. And you're right, these small businesses are affecting the community. They're helping people, put their kids in college, take them to little league, whatever it is, out to eat. It's all this kind of stuff that they're doing. And it's so much fun hearing and talking with people that are working with these small businesses, because they make a difference in everything around us every day.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
can't really do anything in your day without somehow being touched by small business, more so than even large businesses. It's really, if you think about it, I mean, schools even, just the different folks on your street, and a lot of
Mhm.
folks are also even franchise owners to an extent. If you really look at it, most people are a simple owner trying to do good by their customers and clients, and yet again, they don't necessarily know how to make their business great.
Yes. And that's today, talking about growing your business without chaos. And I had to get this off of your LinkedIn profile because you are the secret force who shifts your business from chaos to practically running itself. Now that's a bold statement there. So we're going to get into that a little bit today.
It is. Well, that's the power of good operations. I
Yes.
mean, I love being the conduit for it, but it's really not so secret after all. But
Hmm.
I like to say I'm the secret force because I'm kind of like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. I don't like to be seen. I just like to make things happen and put that owner, that team in the forefront, get them to look great, and then
Yes.
just sort of making the magic happen behind the scenes.
Very cool. Very cool. So when you're coming into these businesses, what are some of the common threads? The common threads that you see when you're walking into these and talking to these small business owners?
The biggest thing I see, and I think this is the biggest sign that something is going on, is there's two things that most people are like, how does that have to do with operations? But we'll see what you think. One is having people that are on your team that aren't accountable. They don't do what they say. Number two is those folks don't take initiative. They're looking for direction. And what is really behind those two things isn't always the person, it could be, but it really means you don't have a clear operating infrastructure. They don't know what to do, they don't know how to do it, they don't know how to report to you what they've done, they don't know how to make decisions. It's really an operational infrastructure breakdown. But the biggest symptoms, especially for those owners who are just like, why is it all me? Why do I have to make every decision? Why can't they do it on their own? Why can't they
Yeah.
just do what they say? Those are a sign that you're missing the operations. It's not your fault. It's what most people deal with. They're just, kind of by default, like, all right, it's not like you stop and say, hey, before I hire this person or before I assign this work, what's the best operational practice? No one thinks like that. You just do
Hmm.
your thing. You hire someone. You don't really stop and like intentionally put in good solid business practices. At least most people don't.
Yes. And I think that what happens is just like you said, they a business owner will get busy and they'll say, I have to hire somebody. And they'll hire someone and they bring that person in and they say, here's what I want you to do. They'll walk through it with them a couple times and then that's all. And then
Yep.
they're just off.
Yep. You
Eh,
wish.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. You fish. It's your turn to catch a fish now.
Yeah,
And
it's just crazy. Like they're never going to be successful with assumptions. And that's what that whole thing is built on. I assume you know what to do. They assume they know what you want them to do. And we always know within our personal relationships how dangerous, especially if you're married, how
yeah,
dangerous assumptions can be. And it's the same in business.
yes, yes. So as you're let's talk about fractional COOs in specific. Many people fractionals have been around for a while now. They got really popular, I think, in the last 5 years or so. But
Mhm.
let's talk about what is the real benefit for this small business owner to consider a fractional COO.
Sure. I think the thing too is that if you've only really been in small business, you don't really know what a COO can do or should do. So once you understand that, then you start to see, oh, okay, even a part-time person doing that would help. So one of the things I think is just to understand that the COO is the second in command. They are your partner in executing on the strategy. You are the big idea person. You've got the great relationships. You're leading the culture. But who's going to make those ideas happen? Who's
Yes.
also going to just gently filter those ideas and say, yeah, but, so you need that partner. I like to think of it as that every business is like a brain, just like our body has our analytical side and our creative side, so does a business. And as that owner, you're bringing in those creativity, you're bringing in those ideas. Here's what we should do next. But when you don't have a COO, then you also have to balance yourself with the
Hmm.
analytical. How do we do it? What should we do? What should I do first? What's the impact if we do this? And that's that analytical side of the brain is really what the COO is doing. It's balancing you out so you can have that creativity. You can continue to do your craft, but you have the analytical, like, let's figure out what to execute, who's going to do that, what. So when you bring in a fractional COO, really what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to sit in your true CEO seat and
Hmm.
have that partner in crime essentially to help you execute on the strategy, get your team to execute, get your team to be trusted. And that's why I say a lot of times you have the chaos because it's all on you, it's all on your shoulders. You're trying to keep it all straight. And somehow, like, occasionally, like, hey, can you help me? So to have that CEO really help lead your team to get the execution of what your big ideas and even small ideas are, it gives you the freedom to do the job you want to do and you should be doing instead of the job you probably don't want to do, which is making everyone do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that is when you see it in action, it really is something, because it's hard for a founder or a leader in a business that has had to do all those things to bring in a fractional COO. Talk about that a little bit, and that kind of some of the adjustments that they need to make.
One of the things that I like to start with is their own self-awareness of their business. And so with my clients, part of our onboarding process is to quickly get to know the business as fast as possible. And we have a diagnostics we go through so that they can kind of rate themselves, scale 1 to 5, each of the critical elements that you need to be able to operate and have a strong foundation. We
Mm-hmm.
had them just say 1 through 5 where I'm at. Most clients come back to me and are embarrassed because they thought they're doing all right, but when they see what are the actual things that a good solid business has in place, they realize, oh my gosh, there's so much I'm missing. And so I like to start with that self-awareness because it helps them to see there's a lot I need to do. There's instant overwhelm when they finish it. And there's a little like, are you in the red? Are you in the green? Are you in the
Yes.
yellow? And most of them are in the red or maybe a little bit touch in the yellow. So they start to understand that, like, if I really want to run this well and I need to put these things in place, I can't do it all. And that starts to warm them up to the idea of someone who understands what everything is from an operational point of view, how to get your team to do it is very refreshing for them to be like, okay, I see what's broken now and I see that it needs to be done and I don't have to figure it out. Because a lot of times, if you're a small business owner, your options are limited in terms of what you can afford. So
Yeah.
you'll go get a business coach or take a business course or a seminar, and they may be telling you the exact same things that came out on our diagnostic, but they don't necessarily help you to make that happen like a
Yes.
fractional COO does.
Yes.
The other option that businesses will do is they'll hire maybe someone up and coming, a little bit younger, maybe even executive assistant, and say, like, okay, you help me run my business. But now you have someone that doesn't actually know how to run a business or ever have to before. So what they're good at is taking direction from you.
Mm-hmm.
You're still missing the piece of you don't know how to do these things. And so they become very open to a fractional COO who can not only strengthen their business, but be, for the sometimes first time, a person that's actually in their business enough to run ideas by and help make decisions. Because even a
Mm-hmm.
business coach, and I love business coaches, but there is a lack of understanding their actual business. And
Mm-hmm.
we have to know their business because we are helping run it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's cool, because you hit those points well. The hiring the younger, I should not even younger, less experienced person,
Mhm.
and them coming in sometimes is an option. But then again, if you're the owner, you still have to tell them what to do, get them up to speed. They don't know systems. They don't know business process like a fractional COO would, that has been there before, done it, implemented, and really helped people. As you said, a business coach can tell you what to do, but they're usually not going to help you implement what you need to do. And that's really where the fractional COO brings the experience and the implementation knowledge, along with the what should we do, but not only that, how do we get it implemented in your specific situation?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And with your team, because the business coach, again, great ideas. It's great to have that outside, but you kind of get the best of both worlds with a fractional COO because we are being able to give that outside trusted advisor perspective. We
Mm-hmm.
also work every week with other businesses. So
Yes.
some of my clients really love it. I'm like, huh, so funny. 2 days ago, I was just dealing with this with another client and they get to kind of cheat off of each other without
Yeah.
having to go into their business and spy on
Mm-hmm.
them because we're there bringing the best practices from each client to each other, and not just like from that week, but we've been doing this for so long. We bring a collective wisdom from our clients, from what we've seen works and what doesn't work. So we really save them a lot of trial and error as well.
Yes, that's one thing that Paul Daniels Jr. talks about. A friend of mine out of Texas, he talks about bringing different solutions outside of your industry together into your industry because they make such a big difference. And I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. You can be setting in a manufacturing setting and something that was working in maybe a construction or a medical or whatever else setting is really applicable to what they're dealing with right there and now.
I love that, Damien, because I don't know about you, but I find that you learn a lot from a different industry.
Mm-hmm.
And just because it helps you be more creative. Again, it brings to light that creative side of your mind
Mm-hmm.
because it allows for you to see it in a different way. Otherwise, we're so stuck in just seeing how we've always done it. But to see a different industry, I'm like, I wonder if I can apply that. It gives you a whole new way to solve problems or create new opportunities.
Yes. Yes. So as you're doing this and you're going through and helping these companies, one of the things that where I spend some time, and we've talked about this before, is when business owners are getting to the point that they may be thinking about exiting their business or slowing down or some other things, the things that I really see that a fractional COO can help with are a lot of the things that impact value, impact saleability, and those aspects of the business. So, in your experience, what are some of the things when you go from chaos to eliminating chaos? What are some of the things that you feel and see in the business as the improvements are coming around?
I think one of the biggest things is whether we like it or not, our people are our biggest asset and our biggest problem.
Yeah.
It's always around team, and sometimes even you as a business owner, you may not like me saying that, but a lot of times you've also created challenges in yourself. And I think one of the things that I love about what you do, Damon, is you really guide them to increase their value. And it gives them options, right? You can, like you said, maybe I want to slow
Hmm.
down, maybe you want to sell. And one of the things that I love about partnering with someone like you is I'm not as tapped into exactly what's going to create value. So to be able to have you say, hey, if you do this, this is going to give them as a business owner options. And so to me, that's really helpful. One of the things I think is even if you're not looking to sell, wouldn't you want your own business to be more valuable and easier to run? So if we think about it, flip it from a different direction.
Yes.
What if you wanted to buy your own business? Would you? Is it easy to run? Can you trust the team? Can you trust the process? Do you get data to know how well it's doing without having to go ask everyone, what are we working on? If you can't say yes, you don't have a very valuable company. And you shouldn't want to buy it every day. You should want to fix it
Hmm.
so that it is actually something you trust. That's why we say to move to practically running itself. I don't care if you want to buy it, sell it, whatever it is, that should be the goal of every business because it gives you strength, stability, value. And I would say to you, Damon, like, what do you see? Is that certain things that are operationally struggling, but what do you see that gives the most bang for their buck if they start working on it first?
Well, I think the one thing is that we always talk about when you're getting ready to sell business is owner dependency. I mean, it's in a small business, it's almost you really can't not have some of that, right? Because as you said from the very beginning, we usually get into a small business because we're good at something. And that means we're technically good at something. We're a plumber, we're an engineer, we're a accountant, whatever it is. We're good at that. We're not good at business, as you said. And what that means is you often be the central hub of information. Where do we go for the questions to get answered? And sometimes, like you said, even they're the people that are doling out who does what. And really, owner dependency is one of the biggest things because if you want to leave your business and you want to sell your business, but if you are the heart and soul of the business to the point that it's going to be awful hard to run it without you, then you really have to consider, as you said, would you buy your business if you were you? and you weren't in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's key. I love what you said. If you're not in it, is there a business if you're not in it? If there
Hmm.
isn't, that's when you have to rely on your infrastructure. And that's, I think, what we're both really getting them to. So thank you for bringing that, because it is really what, even for my clients who maybe aren't ready to sell, someday you're going to get out of this. Or maybe you just want to take a 3-week vacation and have no one call you.
Yes. Yes. And that's why I think it's so good to talk about eliminating chaos, because chaos is often caused by, you don't have your processes, your people. There's all a myriad of things that fractional COOs can do a great deal to address, because as you said, I may not want to exit, but if I've eliminated the chaos, I'm much more able to do it when I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Freedom of
So
choice.
yeah, give them a choice. Exactly. Sorry, I interrupted you there. But the one thing because I got a question for you. So we're going to start eliminating the chaos. Where do you start?
Most of the time, the chaos is with, I'd say, often a handful of people that have, and I'll share some characteristics so you can do your own evaluation if you're listening to this. They're a family member or a friend. They have been there forever. They're loyal. They've been there from the beginning, kind of thing. So there's someone that you have like a personal attachment to, and they aren't doing their job, or they're not really encouraging or really making the culture better. So oftentimes it's this attachment to somebody. It's not
Hmm.
always the case. It could be, somebody new, but there's usually an attachment to one somebody or multiple somebodies that is truly dragging you down. And one my mentor, Darren Hardy, I love what he says. He says, "Are they an engine or are they an anchor?" So are they fueling and giving you, like if you think of the back of the boat, are they an engine that's like pushing you forward and making you
Hmm.
better? Or are
Yeah.
they an anchor and dragging you behind? So the biggest chaos, whether we like it or not, is our people. So if there are a handful of folks that are causing disruption, they're not actually making things better. That's where we have to start. It's not
Yeah.
easy, but I will tell you, one of the great things about a fractional COO is that I'm the bad guy.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is, because you're talking about, it could be family members that may not be in the right role, or may not need to be in the business any longer.
Yeah, it's difficult, but it's much easier when I'm the big bad wolf coming in to cause the conversation. And it's having those difficult conversations with people you're attached to that is
Hmm.
usually what has caused you to get into chaos, because you're not having the conversations that stop the chaos.
Yes. Yes. And that is, oh, you just hit the heart of it, right? Because we don't want to have the difficult conversations because they're uncomfortable. Nobody wants to do them, right? So what a lot of owners do, and we all do this to some extent in our lives, is we put up with it. We suffer through it. And as you grow a business, those same kind of things just grow and grow and grow and grow and grow, and they spread, and it gets worse and worse. And if you don't take care of it, you have a much bigger problem down the road.
And where it gets even, and it absolutely spreads, and I want to be kind of clear how it spreads, because you
Yeah.
think it's that one person, but it's the acceptance of that person or maybe a few people that is giving people unspoken permission to do the same thing.
Yep.
It really does spread.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just an easy example. If Damon is in the business and his sister Tina is working, that's my sister's name. She wouldn't do this, but my sister Tina is supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock, but she always comes about 9, and maybe 10 sometimes when she feels like it. What kind of example does that set for everyone else?
Yeah. It's permission to do what is not really accepted.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And
It's
these kind of
setting the
things.
expectations without realizing you're setting the expectations.
Yes, yes, that's a great point, because And a great point also about you being the fractional COO, you can come in and identify that. You can come in and have the difficult conversations with them in the room,
Yes.
and coach them, the other person, through it, decide what happens, and it gets resolved, and it gets resolved with much less personal stress for the business owner.
Right. Well, and I think one thing to say too is like, I don't want to scare people away. Like, oh my gosh, a fractional CEO is going to come and be the hatchet queen or king, right? No,
No.
what we really do is we have the same intention as you. We want it to work with who's there. And
Yes.
sometimes it's the system around them that needs to change. So we try everything to make it work with those people. We support you on getting clear expectations, on having accountability, on finding their gifts, maybe changing them to a different role where they're going to be. We try everything to make it work first. And that's also sometimes a difficult conversation,
Yes.
but it's actually, if you really think about it, this is a much more, especially if you truly care about these people, this is a more caring way to lead, is to find what's going to work for you and for them and for the company. That's the conversation that's behind the difficult conversation, right? It's like the
Yes.
intention is good, our intention is good, your intention is good, but the execution is what is failing because of the fear of having to say what doesn't want to be said. Yet we come from a very nurturing, very supportive, very direct, though, and straight approach to these conversations so that we can actually do our best to kind of save and repair what has been somewhat harmed. And quite frankly, even if it doesn't go well and you do find that they don't like the accountability or they don't like the expectations because they liked the freedom they had before and now it's getting a
Mhm.
little harsher, one, they're going to blame me. So that's kind of nice. But two, what I find is that when they look back in their life, more often than not, whether it's family member, friend, or just a loyal person that you finally had to let go because you tried everything and they just weren't willing, they eventually can respect that. Maybe not like it, but they can respect how it was handled, how we treat them
Yes.
humanely, how we gave them the best choice. And at the end of the day, it's about being respected. It's not about being liked. You've been doing all these things because you want to be liked, but I'm going to challenge you to encourage you to choose to be respected for the leader that you are instead of be liked for a person that you are.
Yeah, that's a huge thing because, as you said too, it's not just about going in and hatching jobbing people and moving them out. It's about getting them in the right roles because sometimes, as a business grows, right? I was really good at what I was doing, and then the business grew, and I was the only one in the room, and now I'm doing a different role, and that's a role that I'm not really that good in. And sometimes it's reallocate and move someone back into a different role, and someone else takes the role. And another thing that I've seen too is that business owners are typically visionary people that don't really get into the details, right? So they may never have laid out these are the expectations. This is what I really need. And if you don't do this, this is what everyone else sees, or this is how it hurts our customer, or this is how it hurts our company. And sometimes just by bringing those things to bear and talking through them, people go, I never thought of that. And it moves things into a much better direction.
Absolutely. Well, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's so hard to look in the mirror and catch these things. It's so
Yes.
much better. That's why I do love business coaches or consultants and things and fractionals. That's what we do as well, is that we can see what you can't see. We
Yes.
can help you feel like, okay, I thought something was up, and actually help you identify it. Because I would say, even though you can't see it, your gut knows there's
Yes.
something wrong. And so
Yes.
there's a little piece of you that's like, well, I didn't want to hear it. There's some relief in knowing, okay, I thought so.
Yes. And as we're talking about this and we're looking at the team, we're looking at these people and making this, a priority and really resolving some of these issues to make your business run better. People from the outside walking in your business see this.
Yeah.
You may think oh no, it's internal. No, it's not. No, it's not. People can see this when they walk into your business. They can see it in the way people talk to them. They can see it in the way people walk around in the business. They can see the way they do their work. There's all kinds of ways that these things, good or bad, affect how everyone, including the people inside and outside, perceive the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that's really fun for me because I have been in so many businesses. I think, even just in the last like 2.5 years, like 20 different companies. So you see a lot of different things in some way, shape, or form. And the thing that I really like is that I see patterns. I see
Hmm.
similar things, and so I can um, almost have a crystal ball. And while I never make, or at least I do my best not to make an assumption, I check my assumptions. But I do
Hmm.
say to the business owners, let me guess, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? And they're like, did you like have candid camera on me? And it's because that outsider has seen so many things before. Now, sometimes I guess wrong, but I would say about 95% of the time, it's not that I'm smart, it's that I've seen it over and over and
Yes.
over again. It's not like I can really read your mind. I just have seen it again and again and again.
Yes, and you shouldn't feel bad because it is the way many businesses are, and you should feel good about taking the time to try to change it.
Yeah, exactly. You're
Yeah.
definitely not alone.
Yes, that's for sure. Well, when we talk more about owner dependency, I think that really is one of the big things is get your team highly functioning, get them in the right roles.
Yes.
And that really makes a difference. The other thing that I really see and comes to mind with chaos is inconsistent performance.
Mm,
Talk
yeah.
about that and what you really see and some of the ways that a fractional COO can help to address that and reduce that chaos.
The ebbs and flows of anything, whether it's your cash flows, whether it's your marketing and sales, your maybe you have happy customers or clients, and then you start getting complaints. Like there is a lot of inconsistency that happens in a business, and when I see inconsistency, it's a sign that there is a missing two things: missing process and a missing accountability. So usually with processes, version of accountability is a metric.
Yep.
So what we and you're not looking at them. Let's just let's just say. So the thing that is really nice about seeing inconsistencies, it helps to narrow down, okay, what is missing in our process? Because if not everyone, a lot of times there is no consistent process, and that's part of then what we know how to fix. Or maybe there is, like, I have a client, we were just working last week. She created these processes as the owner, and they've used the processes, but they got so much bigger, they didn't really train their people on the process, and then they really didn't hold them accountable. And so
Yeah.
then people just were doing whatever they thought, and they lost their efficiency, which meant they lost some of their profitability. And so that's part of what we were talking about. We're like, I'm like, you got to take the next 90 days and get these people trained. I said, the good news is you have good processes. So we narrowed it down to, like, you got to get them trained, and then you've got to have accountability. So that's the nice thing. It's like, you can fix this by getting everyone doing the same thing, and by making sure they know how to do that, and then holding them to keep doing that. Because I'll tell you what, we humans get a little bored sometimes and want to try it a different way. So
Hmm.
the accountability just helps us, like, stay in line. Not to say that I'm against process improvement. Totally love innovation, but we don't want to make innovation without it really being first tried. A lot of times they don't
Yeah.
first try the way that's been proven.
Yes. It's a huge thing. When you talk about process and accountability, I always when we're doing this and looking at preparing a business for the exit, right? For the business for the exit, one of the things that really drives more consistency is exactly what you said, process and accountability. Because if a salesperson knows that I need to talk to 5 people every day to get the amount of sales I do, and if I put a 5 on the board today because I talked to 5 people, that I'm probably doing all right. And most people have a negative connotation or a thought pattern when they think about accountability.
Yeah.
And really, at the end of the day, flipping that around and saying, if I do 5 today, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm doing well. And
Yeah.
that's what I think it's really fun when you see a business, people in business, and everybody knows, I'm going to need to do 10 of this, 7 of that, whatever. And they do that. They're walking around with their head high because they know they followed the process. They did the 7 they were supposed to, or whatever it is, they did what they were supposed to, and the amount that they were, and they can go home knowing they had a good day at work.
Mm-hmm.
Without the process and accountability, they're running around trying to be busy, doing what they're doing, trying to get it done. And what do they go home knowing? I was really busy today and I did a lot of work.
Yeah.
I was just running around doing work all day. Not that I accomplished what I was supposed to do today.
Right.
So
I love that you bring that up. I think there is a lot of negativity around accountability, which is, it has 2 sides of the impact. The leader doesn't want to do it.
Yep.
They don't want to look like a jerk. And then the people don't want to receive it because most of the time they do it so badly that they are a jerk because it's like, I'm fed up and I'm finally irritated. So they're holding them accountable
Yes.
at their wits' end instead of, I love what you said because when we really look at what causes happiness, especially in work, it's when we feel valuable and productive. And knowing that I hit 5 calls, I know I'm valuable because I did what I was expected and I was productive. That's what actually gives us happiness and joy in our work. So I think I love how you like flip the switch on the accountability. I also think of it as feedback, right? Like this is just letting us know as an individual and even as a company is what we're doing working or not. So it's not about your judgment, it's about feedback. And I'd like to say that ideally you have a team. If you look at like a really high level professional sports team, could you imagine them being effective without a scoreboard and their own individual stats? It doesn't happen. That's what accountability is in a business, right? I can't imagine, we're getting close to the Super Bowl here. I can't imagine they do the Super Bowl without what quarter is it? What's the score? Who on what line? Like it's all feedback to know, okay, have we met our goal or not of winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's great to bring it around that way too, because the high performing people know that they're doing well. And when you put accountability in the right way, because I've gone in and I'm sure you've heard this, oh, we can't do that. That's just nobody wants that. And it's in the owner's head a lot of times because they were in a bad situation with accountability. Like you said, they can come around the wrong way. But when you do it positively and you do it in a, hey, Damon, you're supposed to do 5 and you've done 3 now. What can we do? What is making it hard? Do we have our systems not working? What's not working to really get you to 5? Because we know if you do 5, everything works wonderfully down the road from there. And doing it like that is a way to incorporate continuous improvement in the businesses, which I think is really cool, because what flips the switch after a while is we go, 5 is cool, but if I did this, I could get 6.
Yes. Yes.
And you really start to get your teams pulling. And when you get these people working together, it's just like magic, right? Because you go, I've been in e-commerce businesses before where one of the things that most people don't think about in e-commerce business is how long does it take to get that product off the shelf in a box and out onto the truck to go someplace? And if you're shipping, 5,000 orders a week, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we did in a business that I was working with a few years ago is we said, okay, let's measure it first. We don't even care where it is right now. Let's measure it.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's start asking people what they think we could do better.
I love it.
And in that time, and if I think it was 15 minutes from order to the box to the truck. And by the time, like 90 days later, it was like at 7 minutes. And then it got down to about 4 minutes when we got it done, when people started really getting into, well, if I batch all my orders and I go out and I pick 6 and we go from one end of the warehouse to the other. So we're being really efficient and we're only going down this once for the, every 2 hours or however they did it. You know, these kind of things that people get into this and they have fun and they try to do better. Because you said, like you said, I want to know I'm productive in a day. I'm not just busy and I'm not fighting fires. We're planning our work. We're executing our work. And it's so much more fulfilling for the people doing it and being a part of it.
Absolutely. I love what you said. And you said it in many different ways, but you kept saying we. And that's a strong culture. Like it's mutual accountability. It's mutually supporting each other. It's mutually valuing each other because someone is relying on your role to make their role better. And the we too about what can we do to put trainings or systems or technology around you has the leadership take ownership and responsibility. It's not all on that individual. And
Nope.
so many elements that you said around that we is really what makes that work.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that we won't go down this road a long ways, but if I always have thought the best leaders take ultimate responsibility for everything,
Yes.
and when they do that, you can really begin to work on the we, because it's still at the end of the day, I as a leader am responsible, but it's us working together to do what we need to do, and it is so much fun when you get the we culture going, because you can get somebody, and this is the coolest darn thing. You can have somebody coming from HR, doesn't know anything about what you're doing, walk out someplace and go, why don't we try that? And it's the best idea in the place. And it's just
Absolutely.
because the perspectives bring a different look
Mhm.
and different ideas, which is so much fun.
Mhm.
Because all of this, when we talk about getting a business out of the chaos, every little piece of this helps that. And then when we talk about where I deal with them a lot is talking about value. The business runs more efficiently. It
Mhm.
runs more consistently. You don't have as much highs and lows. And when someone from the outside is looking at business in the terms of a sale, consistency is huge.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. So what are some of the things that you like to whoa God, we're getting close. We're over time, my goodness. But I want to talk about one more thing.
Sure. Sure. We were
What
just having too much fun.
Yes, yes. I want to, and first of all, we got Steve Martin is dropped a great comment. Jen Hamilton, so important to recognize the importance of recognition within the context of reality. We are actually doing the work. We are deserving of being measured to what is actually happening. Awesome stuff.
Thank
And
you,
he
Steve.
said,
Yes.
HR on the floor, fresh eyes.
I love it.
100%. And I tell you, if you are doing a cross-functional thing somewhere, get people that are never there, it'll work. It'll help every single time. I think it's just so
Absolutely.
good. But before we go today, Jen, I do want to ask, what is the thing that you just love the most about what you do, that wakes you up every day, that just goes, I gotta do this some more?
Some people may think that it's very geeky that you do operations in general. So something in me is already kind of tweaked. But I will say the thing that makes me so fulfilled is to see when the transformation occurs. And it can be little transformation or it can be big transformation. So like the moment the owner, I've had this happen so many times, and it's just, sometimes we cry together, right?
Yeah.
They really see that they can get out of this. Like they start to see, oh my gosh, I delegated something and it worked. And like there's that hope is renewed and that something is changing. It's those little moments that are so worth it because we're now bringing in hope, some clarity, some inspiration. Like to me, that's what it's all worth. There's still messes to clean up along the way, but just starting to see a little bit each time, a little bit better and a little bit better. And there's nothing better than having them get how to make it better. So I don't like to come in and take a business that's wrapped around that owner, like you said, that's the owner dependent, and then make it fractional COO dependent. Like that's not a solution. What I love is the little transformations in the owner and in the team and in just everyone starting to get like,
Yeah.
oh, I see this differently because I want to let's talk about spread. I want to spread that empowerment, that clarity, that focus, that feeling of fulfillment, and that, like we said, they're productive, they're clear, they're excited to be there, and they're part of a bigger mission. So it's those little pieces that start to turn on the light to be like, oh my gosh, this is working. Look at what we're doing. This is so great. Our clients are happy. Our customers are happy. Like all of these things, it's the little things. It's not, I wish it was like, okay, all of a sudden you walk in and everyone's like working well together. You have to celebrate those little wins. And to me, that's what makes it all worth it.
Awesome. That's all I'll say about that, because it is. And you talk about crying, it happens. And it happens because, business is not an easy road for these people that are in it and running the business, founding the business, doing that every day. It's a hard thing. And it is a wonderful experience when something as little as, like you said, we delegated something and it worked. And you just go, wow, that's one less thing that I have to worry about tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a gift. It's a gift to everybody. It's a gift
Yeah.
to them. It's a gift to the person who's now feeling trusted by their leader. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Jen, it's been awesome having you on, and it is just wonderful learning from you, hearing how you're helping people and their businesses grow their businesses and eliminate the chaos. So if someone wants to talk to you more about your fractional COO services or just get some ideas from you, what's the best way to do that?
The easiest way is to go to my website, Hamilton COOs. So Hamilton, COOS.com. You can be able to actually even join our roundtables. These are something we host every month for free. So it's not just you feeling alone, like we talked about. We bring together CEOs and even COOs to just kind of work through some of those challenges. And we'd love to have you there. It's always a free experience, but it's always enlightening, and it's just such a refresher to be like, oh my gosh, someone else has dealt with this, and we learn from each other. So it's a great way to experience what's possible when you start to put in some of these little operational pieces. And I would love to have you there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks, Jen. I want to just drop up one more comment from Steve Martin here. Those little moments actually occurred. That's a big deal. They happened. Is there anything better? Encouraging to hear others celebrate the winning. Thanks for the comment, Steve. Appreciate it. And I just want to tell anyone that got into this late, go back to the beginning and listen to Jen. We did have a little technical difficulties, so fast forward just a moment, but get into this thing because she dropped some wonderful information talking about some of the things that she does to help people with teams and process, accountability, all kinds of great things, and just the role that a fractional COO can help with. Thank you so much for being here today, Jen.
Damon, thank you for being here, and thank you for being that inspiration for those of us who want to know how can we really make a true impact on their life, and it's increasing the valuation of their business. Again, you give choices, you give people freedom to choose, and so thank you for what you do.
Just happy to be able to do it. Thanks, everyone. Jen, just hang around for a second. We'll get offline here and finish up. But thanks, everyone, for being here today. We could see that you were out there. We could see that you're listening. We had a lot of people on today. Great comments. We'll be back again next week. Thanks so much.